In this video, I would like to reflect on the meaning of friendships. Why is it that each time I try to build a friendship with someone, I end up feeling incredibly disappointed? I end up feeling used, whether as someone to obtain help from or as an emotional crutch. I feel like I never receive the same respect, consideration, or benefit of the doubt as others. And honestly, the constant question, why, has finally become very tiresome. Each and every experience has been painful, hurtful, disappointing, and very tiresome. And it's not a small thing. My self-worth has been directly impacted, as well as the constantly perceived injustice and the feeling that I never belonged. It has made me incredibly jaded and very reticent when meeting new people and establishing a new network of friends. I have even started seeing friendships as more transactional, cold connections that have to serve an interest. I am no longer invested, and to me, the meaning of the word friends has changed significantly to just people that I spend some time with when I am incredibly bored and do not have anything better to do, or people that have to serve some kind of interest or be of benefit to me. A stark contrast to what it was before, when I equated friends to family that I chose myself, and even ranked them higher than my biological family, considering them as chosen family and not simply the one that I was born into. I was always there for everyone, trying to help and be an emotional crutch in the darkest times, without receiving the same consideration in return. In my first experience with friendships, when I was very little, I was betrayed, ostracized, and bullied. I remember I wanted a friend so badly, and I constantly felt alone and isolated. Later, I had a best friend who made me feel used and like I was not good or valuable enough. I did not feel truly accepted by my peers until I was 11 years old in secondary school, but unfortunately, that did not last, as we moved shortly afterwards and I had to change schools, where I was later bullied once again. In my new school, I finally made friends, but I admit I had to learn how to act like them, so I never truly felt like I belonged. In high school, I moved to another country, not speaking a word of the local language and suffering cultural shock, and again not having any friends, feeling alone, isolated, misunderstood like the odd one out. Once I started my BA at university, I finally made a friend, whom I later considered a best friend for over a decade, and by the end of it, I again felt betrayed and abandoned. Fun fact, that friend later came back, trying to resume the friendship like nothing had happened and everything was okay, making me feel stupid. My mom never liked her and even told me that she was very jealous of me. So many people were involved, and the common denominator was betraying, isolating, disrespecting, and devaluing me. The question became, why me? Why can't I find a friend? What is wrong with me? After so many attempts to find a true friend, I finally gave up. Maybe I am not meant to have a true friend. That was my thought for some time, until I finally understood a very important thing. I wanted a friend, someone to be in my corner and to be there for me, because I never had anyone, not even myself, and that realization was an eye-opener. I was never there for myself. Everyone else was a priority for me and never me. I was raised to serve and protect others and to think of the happiness of others and never of myself. That was the normalcy and my reality, or my belief. So that is why the people that I chose to be my friends were always the ones who showed me and confirmed my belief. Once I finally understood it, I started to change my belief. I became my best friend, and I started to put myself first. I started to act like my best friend and to protect myself above all others. For example, when choosing something, I started to first think whether it would make me happy or benefit me. If not, I would simply say no without any further explanation. I admit that saying no and disappointing many people, my family included, felt unnatural and very difficult. At times, I felt very guilty. However, it became easier with time. Right now, I do not feel like I need a friend anymore. I finally understood that I did not want friendships with others. I wanted to be my own friend, and I started acting like my best friend. Sure, I have acquaintances that I would call friends, but to me they are just people, just others to spend some time with. Thus, I do not spend more time, resources, or share more information than strictly necessary, and I do not serve anyone as an emotional crutch, a free therapist, or a couch, and I do not feel the need to save anyone or give advice because I simply do not care. It is your problem and your karma, so deal with it. Now, I may seem cold, but I honestly have never been more at peace and happy to be left alone. I love my own company and investing all my time and resources in myself. Right now, there is a friend from my high school days who feels the need to ask for my input and assistance every time she has a legal problem. What bothers me is that she seems not to care that she contacts me only for my free assistance and always on weekends when I do not work and I rest, which tells me that she does not really respect my time or me in general. My old self would go out of her way to help her. However, now I do not care. I only tell her that I do not know anything, that it is not my area of expertise, and I advise her to contact another lawyer as I do not work for free. I realize that in all of my friendships I have been used and my effort was not reciprocated, and it was only my fault. Had I been my own best friend, I would probably not have given any chances to any of those people. So I realized that things had to change, that the problem, again, was in my perspective and in the meaning that I gave to the word friendship. After 36 years on this plane of existence, I can assure you that there is no unconditional friendship outside of your relationship with yourself. Every other relationship outside of your family is purely formed or based on an interest, benefit, or condition. My honest advice to anyone listening to me now would be to focus on building your relationship with yourself and becoming your own best friend first. Focus on your life and build your journey in silence without announcing it to anyone, because people tend to destroy your dreams. Do not try to find validation outside of yourself, because no one is a better judge of your life than you, and no one is truly sure about anything in this life. Get your priorities right and never prioritize friendships. Friends as people come and go, and they tend to be seasonal, like clothes, sorry for the cold analogy, and you should not get attached or count on them for anything more than just having a cup of coffee sometimes to catch up. For example, I am being invited to the weddings of 2 of my so-called friends from my university days this year, and I have already confirmed that I will be there, but that is it. I do not plan on rekindling my friendships with them, as they disappeared when I needed someone the most. I will go just to invite them back to my wedding so that I have more wedding guests. Harsh? Maybe, but at least they will serve their purpose in my life. Nothing in this life is free, so why should access to me be free? However, if you insist on having a true friend, which I now think is a complete myth, there are some rules that you should follow. Do not open up immediately and vet them for many years. Make sure that they are at least on your socioeconomic level and similar in intellect and appearance. Because nothing is worse than a friend who is jealous of you and ends up sabotaging you. Trust me, I have gone through that too. Remember, your energy is priceless and not everyone deserves access to it. So limiting access and establishing strong boundaries is vital to survival in this realm. Be strong, be calm, protect your peace, lock in on your goals in silence, and let your work show your progress. And remember, this is a reflection, only my perspective, and I am only a blip on the map of existence. So this is not a rule, and I am not a guru, and you do not need to listen to me or follow me. Thank you for your time, and as always, it has been my pleasure to share my thoughts with you. Humbly, just an eldest daughter.